This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for Avoid the Maze, your journey through life. And I'm really excited because Beatrice, Kimmel, and I are finally meeting face to face on Zoom for the first time. Uh, I've been working with Beatrice and Impact PR for I don't even know how long, but I've met some wonderful, talented people through you. And it's just been an amazing journey for me. But I read the other day that you are now starting to blog. And I know you've always been writing because you have to write when you're in the PR business, but you're sort of taking a separate avenue with your blogging, although you are not giving up Impact PR. That is your life. That's your blood, sweat, and tears. So what made you all of a sudden decide to do this and then post it? Because once we post something, we're committed.
Well, I've been talking. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Karen, for having me on your show. After years, like you said, I would say, I don't know, maybe a decade we've been working together, and you're such a wonderful interviewer and, so easy to talk to. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. But yes, I've been doing PR, as you know, for, gosh, over 15 years now, predominantly music professionals, but now also branching off to other creative professionals like authors, filmmakers, photographers, even non, more science, like solar technology company, et cetera. So, but writing has always been a passion for me. Even when I was a child, I hand wrote out a little book, like it was like my first novel. And I drew the pictures and I stapled it together. And, that was and, I majored in English and creative writing in college. So it was just kind of a natural thing that I wanted to do something where I was writing, just for, I don't know, just to get things out. And when I had Coco, my daughter, 4 years ago, that was like the impetus. I said, I really want to put something down. I want to give her something, where she can just use it as a guide. There's all kinds of like journals and like little books where you can put little notes when your child is young, and then they open it up when they're an adult, and et cetera. But I just thought, I'm in the media. Blogs are, also accessible to other people. Maybe it could help other people. And I just thought this would be, this would be an easy format for me. And it turns out it is. It's just that I just didn't quite have it. It sat in here for 5 years or 4 years. And finally I was like, okay, I had to get over the technology hump, learning how to get a website up and, that sort of thing. But, and that was easy, technology makes it easy now. So once I got over that, now it's just kind of like off to the races. So,
Well,
yeah. So it launched this Mother's Day, as a matter of fact.
So one of the things we're learning about individuals who are blogging, a lot of the time they're blogging to get out their thoughts and feelings, almost to say, hey, I'm okay. And I know that's how I started blogging. I started blogging, 2006. My youngest son was in high school and on the autism spectrum, but very high functioning. And he was having such a difficult social time. And I knew I couldn't run to the school every time I had, an issue with them. But I started talking about this in blogging. This is what I'm seeing. And I had parents coming out of the woodwork, whether they had kids on the spectrum or not. Oh, yeah, bullying is a big thing. Oh, our kids need this. Oh, hey, mom, you don't have to be alone. I'm going through the same thing. And those same writings, he now can look at and see some of the things that I was doing for him behind the scenes that helped me in the long run be a better mom. And I think that's what I sort of heard in your first blog. It was like, if I can learn something from my readers, I'm going to be a much better person. And I think you're doing a great job from what I see on the internet with your daughter.
Yes. Well, thank you. Well, I mean, I have to start reading your blog. I mean, I think, you don't really appreciate moms until you become one. And, especially a child that has, either special needs or, maybe health issues or whatever, that you're giving so much at the 1,000% all the time. When I announced the blog, I mean, it was like, yeah, that was the commitment. I had to do it now. Like there was no turning back. There was no postponing, I was like, okay, just make it happen. And when I announced it on Facebook, I was literally I was visiting my family. I live in New York, and my mom and my brother live in Virginia, and sitting in my brother's basement, house basement, getting up at 6:30 to get the blog up and ready on Mother's Day. I announced it on Facebook, and just, the outpouring of other like friends from grade school, from, college, all the way through, my clients now. I mean, it's just so wonderful. I mean, you just feel, your heart feels full, and you feel like, wow, everybody must be feeling this way. I mean, especially, women who are moms. I mean, I just felt like, wow, what a great way to connect with people. And that's really what it is. It's because, everyone, we're all separate and unique, but we're all kind of the same. So I think that's what it is. It brings people together in a lot of ways.
Now, you're really busy in PR business, and you've got your daughter, and you've got your husband, and then you have family that's scattered around. How do you balance? Because I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they don't like the word balance, but I still do, because I feel like I'm always putting myself on the scale, saying, am I giving my husband enough time? Am I giving my son enough time? What about me? What about other people around me? And specifically, you have a high profile business.
Balance is a tricky thing. And I have tried, you see all these things online, especially when you get on hit on Instagram, how to, all these hacks, how to clean better, how to more efficiently, how to organize your life more efficiently, how to schedule your time better, what platforms you should use, and, how to make more money faster. I mean, there's all these hacks, and it's like, I have to take a break from all of that. And really what and I was just thinking about this because I wanted to make it a blog post, was, what is the common thread through all of these kind of hacks, these platforms or methods, if you will, to balance it all. And one of the sources that I found, it was obviously, really look at all the time you have. I mean, like almost in a mathematical way, and look at all the things you have to do, and then really be honest as far as what's the priority, and then how much each of those are going to take. I mean, it's just nothing scientific here. I mean, not rocket science, right? And just like prioritizing and putting, a time stamp on each one, and then fitting that into the time you have available. I literally have, I mean, you feel like you have 3 full-time jobs, work, family/child, and then the household. Like I'm one of those people. I have to, I have to live in a clean house. I can't, I have to declutter, I have to feng shui and all those things. So I dedicated a good portion of the weekend doing that. But yeah, like I literally have, 7-hour block where I'm with my daughter, and that's split up between the morning and then the evening. And then the rest, I try to sleep. I try to go to bed at the very latest, like midnight. Sometimes when before I was working, with another company, I was up until 2 a.m. and getting up at 6, and, all that. But yeah, I mean, it's constant challenge. I'm never have arrived and say, oh, this is the key. I've got the answer. I'm totally balanced, I know how to balance. I mean, it's, and there's always more things to balance. I mean,
Oh,
then you've
sure.
got, a big event coming up, and then you've got, family vacation, or you've got to, we just went to a funeral this past weekend. So the travel, so that's a constant battle. And that's what I want to, with this blog, I think, and I don't think there is a real like answer, because everybody has a different style and a different way that works for them. But this is what's worked for me. And I think that's, valuable to share. And I'd love to hear what other people do.
You know, one of the big things I'm hearing is we have to stop judging each other for the time they do things. Um, I'm constantly hearing from a few people that are very close to me. Um, you see, you're only going to record here between 8 and 5 o'clock. Well, I want to record at 7 o'clock at night. And my comment is, these are my hours. I had to create boundaries after doing this business as long as I have. And on top of it, like you, not only do I have the podcasting, but I'm now coaching. In addition to coaching, I'm doing some supportive work for my son who lives in Texas. So that's, even though it's not a huge time difference, that 1 hour can be a huge difference for us. And so I used to tell people, oh, I know how to balance, because go look at my calendar, you'll see what I'm doing. The calendar is only a guide. And I think that's what you find too, that, if you get a client who calls you at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and that conversation lasts until 5:30 and it's important, you're not going to cut them off at 4:55 because, hey, my day ends at 5 o'clock.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I feel the same way. Karen, can we pause? Is it okay? Because I'm so sorry. A couple of things. I feel it's a little, when you speak, it's a little, warbly.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's coming across on your end. Do you hear me clearly?
I don't hear any wobble on the set.
Okay. And then another thing is I have a dry cleaner that's coming to pick up my stuff. So I apologize. One second.
Let's take your pause.
Okay.
So as many of you may have realized, I had a hard time pausing when Beatrice asked me to, because something else flashed up on my screen. But I'm glad we had that issue. I'm going to tell you why, Beatrice. This shows that life happens. We can plan something, and you know what? It takes a turn, but we can pivot and keep going. So, thank you. And that was not planned, everybody. That just happened.
It's real life. Here we go. Right here.
I'll go back a little bit. Tell me what took you into the PR business, because I am so impressed with the clients that I've interviewed over the years. And I know it's not easy, but it seems like you have a group of clients that they're just the most down to earth individuals I've ever met. I just enjoy them immensely. And many of them stay in touch with me, just to let me know what they're doing. So that's you into the business.
Well, it was never something I planned or dreamt about or even knew what it was until much later in life. It was kind of by accident. But it also, like, looking back, made a lot of sense. I have an English degree and a music degree and also a master's in arts administration. So it's kind of like a business degree with the arts that, bent to it. So I was planning, I thought, I wanted to be in the arts, but I wanted to be on the business side. So I thought, okay, marketing is creative, you create ads, write copy, and I was working for an agency and they happened to have a client that needed a little PR. And I didn't really quite know what it was. They said, oh, write out, reach out to some local papers, get some stories written up. And I think I got about 5 articles in 5 local papers in New York City. And it was actually a church. I thought that was, oh, wow, that's easy. That didn't seem hard at all. It wasn't, it was just sending an email and, things happened. And you're just dealing with people. And so, essentially that's what it is. You're getting things, getting people to be excited about what you're wanting to tell the world and to connect with other people out there. In my case, it was music. And, I just happened to, I think I was, looking for a job. I was, I think onto my 3rd job. And I reached out to a music management company that was looking for an in-house publicist. I had been applying to so many jobs. I thought, why not? How hard could it be? You get to listen to music all day. They reached out 20 minutes later. I interviewed a week later and I got the job. It didn't pay very much, but at that point I said, I really needed a job, and it seemed fun. I liked the people. The client roster was a really strong one. Some were already nationally known. Josh Kelly was one of them. He had made like the top 5 on the top 40 Billboard list. And then it just, so it went. And that was, I think 2007. And shortly after that, I branched off on my own. I started my first PR company, Absolute Pitch PR. That's pitch with a P. Some people thought it was with a B. That's with a P. I don't know where that came from. But that's referring to a musical term like perfect pitch, absolute pitch, PR. And I got the logo and the website up and fairly quickly. And I started my own business. I did not have a clue how to run a business. After my, I had, I think 4 or 5 clients, that carried over from the management company. And, I think those basically petered out, they wrapped up after 4 or 5 months. And I said, oh my gosh, I have to get new clients. So there was this, I had to learn as I was going, literally putting the road brick by brick in front of me as I was walking along. I mean, that's what it felt like. I was still learning PR essentially and building my network and client list and everything. So I somehow managed to continue that for 5 years. Ended up joining another company that was looking for a publicist, and I worked with them for over a decade. And now I've decided, this was the best time to branch off into my own, officially on my own, as Impact Media Inc. And that's January 1st. So here we are.
How did you come up with that name? Because, for years I was having a hard time with it. And then you finally wrote it out for me in a way that was like, oh, impact. Okay, I get it.
Well, you were not alone, and that's my fault. I need to publicize it better, what the name actually means. It's an acronym for experiential marketing and PR. That's EMP, PR, without the R, that connects with a K and transforms. And I have to give credit to my wonderful husband, Dave, who actually helped me come up with that name. I wanted to do something that was, that had to do with making a positive impact. I wanted to work with clients that are doing something good in the world, that were, whether it's through music or, philanthropy, through creating exciting, wonderful products that make our lives easier, things like that, or something in also giving back. There were people are, getting benefits other than buying the product, so it just fit. My husband said, hey, why don't we do this? And I said, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And there it is. Impact Media Inc.
Now, is he in the business with you?
So it's an interesting question. He has obviously his own full-time job. He works for Pix 11 News. He's been in the media for 30 something years, and that's how we met. Essentially, I was on the PR side, he was on the media side. So we met 10 years ago. And then he now, I guess you could say he's the CFO of Impact Media since I've gone on my own. So yes, we are essentially working together, but it's mostly me.
I totally get it. And I'm sure your daughter is sitting at your knees, learning the business as well. So, hey, it's going to be a
She's
family.
sitting on my lap. I mean, usually she's in preschool right now, but she goes on the Zoom meetings ever since she was small. She was strapped to my chest, during calls, she would be falling asleep, and yeah, she would be asleep literally on my lap. Sometimes I would be doing podcasts as well, or and Zooms all the time. And yep, she's been there. She gets it. She knows my clients. She'll say hello. If she was here right now, she would be on board. She'd be sitting here right next to me, contributing.
That would be wonderful. So I see how this is all transitioning into your new blog. So how often are you going to be putting out blogs, and where do you think this is going to transition to? There's got to be a bigger dream in that head of yours.
Wow, it's funny that you mentioned. Yeah, well, my dream is that this grows. And I continue to do this until I drop. Where I can't write on my own anymore. Maybe my daughter will continue it, but I want this just to be just a resource. That it's free. It's I'm not looking to make money from it. I mean, I'm not going to turn that down, but it's something that I just want to give back, and make an impact on the world, so it's something that I leave behind, or of some sort. That's good. And yes, if I could, I actually did a podcast earlier for a very short time with a good friend of mine, Joseph Frya. He's a magazine editor, Livin' Magazine. And we played around with the podcasting for a while. We co-hosted, and so I got my feet wet a little bit doing that. So I really enjoyed it. So this could very well evolve into a podcast as well. But I don't know if I'd have the time to do it that on a regular basis. Right now, the blog for me is just again something for me to share, for to have other women share their thoughts, their wisdoms, their stories, to help others, to help other women. I think young women, especially today with social media and the rate of suicide increasing, and all these things, all these other things out externally that that young people face in general, but as well as young women. And I want them to feel that we've got them, like there's a place to go where it's real. It's not just social media filters, and where they can say, okay, this is some other person has dealt with the same challenge, feels the same way as I do, and this is how they dealt with it. Okay, I can do this. I can I can overcome this, or this is just something it's going to pass. And that's really all I want it to be. That's really the goal.
Well, I think it's a terrific goal, because there are so many people out there, and especially from my generation, who we didn't have social media like this when we were younger. And so we always thought the things we were going through was either our fault or was only happening to us. And now I'm finding the more I speak out and you'll speak out, people will start to realize, okay, so I made a mistake, but I can correct it. And I'm learning that I may not do it the way Beatrice did it, but I learned something from what she said, or the experience that she went through. And I agree with you that our voices have to be heard. And if we can just make one person just a little bit happier, we've come a long way. So
Yes,
thank you for
absolutely.
doing this.
Oh, Thank you. I thank you. You've been doing this a lot longer. So I'm just one of the many, and I hope it helps, like you said, at least one person. And if it connects us in some way, and that's one of the benefits of now the internet and everything. I mean, you could help somebody across the world and, in a completely different country, and it connects us somehow. I think that's a great thing.
And hopefully that will bring us all closer together. And that's what we need to be. So, well, I'm
Yes,
sorry
closer
I
together
didn't
in a
get
good way. And everybody, there's something positive that we can all, celebrate.
exactly. Well, I'm sorry I didn't get to meet your daughter, but we'll have to do it on another podcast in the future.
Oh,
Uh,
for sure.
in the meantime, it's been wonderful meeting you face to face. And I
Yes,
look
thank you.
forward to the next blog.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate it. And thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. You take care, Beatrice. Bye-bye
You
now.
too. Bye-bye.